everybody. It's Mark Yagi. Welcome to 2025. Glad you're here. Hope you're ready to have a phenomenal year. Let's make it a really great year where we make lots of juice and make lots of money. How about that? So we are finishing the year in the red as a red market, but we're starting the year as a yellow market. So now the market actually just went yellow today. And there's lots of upside, exciting things coming. I believe we're still in a bull market. And there's lots of opportunities. And if you're trading today, if you're trading any of the stocks that you know that I'm in, MicroStrategy, Tesla, you know that it's a good day. Let me share my screen and I will run you through a few of what's going on in the market. So just so you can get an idea of how we trade, what's shaking up. So you can see this is last week, it's 4 red lights. This week it's 2 red lights, 2 green lights. And so we are coming out of this red market. It's yellow. That means a yellow light, you don't always, step on the gas. Sometimes you hit the brake. You have that choice. A yellow market can go red or it can go green. So we'll see what happens next week. But right now we're yellow, which means get your buy list ready. So let's take a look at the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ has kind of come down and tested the 50-day moving average yesterday. Today, it's obviously up higher. We're still in a yellow market, as you're going to see by the next 3 big indexes. Look at this. The S&P 500 below the 50-day moving average, right? It needs to get above the 50-day moving average to show some action and some love. We need something out of it. The Dow Jones below the 50-day moving average, right? Actually making a dreaded H pattern. I don't like this pattern at all because that tends to mean that it's probably going to go down to this 41,647 or worse, the 200-day moving average. So I don't like this. It's scary, although today it feels really good. Just be careful out there. All right, and the last one is it's the New York Stock Exchange. It looks like almost the same exact. Look at that. They look almost the same, but below the 50, above the 200, which is good. But we need some good action here in the next week to get us back up. And there's a lot of damage that was done over the last 14 days of this red market. So we need some buyers. That's the bottom line. We need some buyers. All right, let's keep going here. The CBO, the CBOE VIX. I call it the panic index. The panic index is not up very much. It's up a little above the moving average, above the mean, not a biggie. But here's some things that are interesting. Look at this housing market, right? The housing market is telling us that there's trouble in the economy, right? And so we have a little dreaded H pattern that happened last week, and I warned about this, and here we are dropping lower. So I think there's a little bit more pain to the downside on the Philadelphia Housing Index. So watch out for that. Gold and silver, short-term bear market, short-term. Bitcoin, look at this. If you'd bought Bitcoin, and you guys may not know this, but I have a Bitcoin hedge fund, and all the people that were really scared of getting into it a year, 2 years ago this is what you got last year, 40,000 to 108,000. It's right now at about 97,000. Then it's an amazing asset. It's an amazing insurance policy. It's an amazing store of value. It's the future of money, in my opinion. And there's, if you're not in Bitcoin or if you're not learning about it, you will. Everybody learns about Bitcoin when they deserve to learn about it. So I'm just pointing it out to you. But looking at the pharmaceutical index, this is what I call the reverse RFK index. If Robert F. Kennedy is confirmed as the HHS secretary, you're seeing a lot of that anticipation on that. And so this is a dreaded H pattern that looks like it's probably going to go to about 840. Don't be in pharmaceuticals right now. Don't try to pick the bottom on this. There's a lot of pain, a lot of selling going on there. The oil index kind of been in a bearish strategy condition. That's probably because we're going to be opening up the spigots here and drilling for oil. So it's going to be becoming more of a commodity, less profit, more margin squeeze. The natural gas index, because of our buddy Zelensky that we keep sending all this money to, and so does Europe, he finally said, you know what, screw Europe. We're going to close off the natural gas supplies in the wintertime to the countries in Europe. Nice guy, right? And so you're seeing a spike in the prices of natural gas. At least that's my theory. But this is a beautiful chart. Like if you've been in the computer tech business for the last year investing in this, it's been fantastic. All right, let's go to some of our big stocks. Apple. Apple is one of our big ones. It's had this gorgeous little hockey stick up. but it's spent the last 5 or 6 days on a way down. And so that's a little scary, but you know what? It had to kind of blow off. It wants to go back and test this 237.50 level where it broke out, maybe even test the 50-day moving average. I don't see a world without Apple, so I don't think you're got anything to worry about. But, you know, it's short-term, quit going higher. Now, we sell calls against things, and we create income when we do that. Here, when I printed this, the stock was at 243.65. If you were to sell the 250, just slightly in the money, you pick up $205 a contract. That's income that we get, and we do that every week. So just to kind of give you apples and apples comparison here. Nvidia just keeps on coming back to this 140.76 level, which is its kind of its breakout level. It can't seem to get out of that. And so it's using that as kind of the little pivot moving average around. And it's just not able to break out. Now, if you've been listening to me talk about Nvidia, I've been telling you, look, it's in a late stage base. And so as a late stage base, it's not going to have the energy to climb and shoot up like it did last year. That being said, it's still probably pretty darn good. All right, but the Nvidia's at the money. If it's 143.24, going at the 143s, you're still getting $341 a contract in juice, and that's income. So that's the way we, you know, on a stock that's flat, if you can make $341 per 100 share, per 100 shares, you got 1,000 shares, you're making $3,400 a week. So, pretty good stuff going on with Nvidia as far as income goes. Tesla, I just want to show you, I draw these lines all over this chart. Now, you know I'm a big Tesla guy, but we had a gap up and another gap up right here. And then we have this little gap and we have this gap down, okay? So gaps want to get filled. And if you look at this line right here, this is the support level that I see on the chart. Technical level, it's about 360. So I don't see Tesla being a big breakout right now. I think it's got to get rid of some of these sellers, these people that made all this money. And so you're going to see it probably come back now. It's up to $400 or maybe even a bit more today. But, one day does not make a trend. So we have a little bounce going on here. But I think Tesla kind of wants to go back and test some of these levels, maybe even fill a gap or two. I hope not, but that's the way it goes. That's the market. We don't know. But Tesla, boy, look at the juice that Tesla pays. When it was at $395 a little while ago, at $395, you make $1,151 per contract. You own 1,000 shares of Tesla, which I know is $400,000, blah, blah, blah. But you're making $11,000 a week on owning 1,000 shares. And there's other ways to get it for cheap, like I talk about on my channel. Tesla's exciting. It's a great company. It's more than just electric vehicles. And if you listen to any of the stuff I talk about on Tesla, you know what I'm saying. MicroStrategy is another exciting one that I'm in. There's a gap that got almost filled just a couple of days ago. It went into that gap. Gaps get filled. This one almost filled, not a complete fill. So I don't know, a little bit sketchy there on the fill, but it's below the 50-day moving average, and it's trying to get above the 50-day moving average today. So there's a lot of good stuff going on. Could this be a dead cat bounce? Meaning a temporary bounce, or could it be a real bounce for real? I don't know, but boy, the action, it's up 12% today, so sure be interesting to see what happens. But look at the juice on MicroStrategy. Like if you do covered calls like we do, I'm telling you guys, this is one of the greatest stocks that we've had in a long time. If you believe in the stock and you believe it's going to be around, you can end up making at the money about $1,350 a contract, right? That's 13,000 on 1,000 shares a week. That's $52,000 a month that you're making an income on this. Okay, cut it in half if you can only afford to buy half the number of shares, but it's just crazy what this thing is doing. All right, a couple other ones. Mara Holdings, a Bitcoin play. It's below the 200-day moving average. Be careful with this one because you could see the volatility on this chart. Coinbase is another Bitcoin play. It's below the 50-day moving average, probably bouncing a little bit more today. But to me, it's in a short-term downtrend. iShares Bitcoin Trust, this is a good proxy for Bitcoin, and it's way above the 50, and it's actually doing great. Microsoft can't kind of get out of its own way these days. It's still in an uptrend, but it's kind of slowing down. It's taking its foot off the accelerator. Let's say it's below the 50 and the 200-day moving average. You know what I always say, not a lot of good stuff happens below the 200-day moving average for sure. And not a lot of good things happen below the 50 either. So we need some constructive action to go back on Microsoft. And I suspect there's a rotation out of some of these big names and into some other things that have some potential. Amazon's the last one I'll talk about today. And that stock is in an uptrend, in a breakout, coming back and testing some earlier support levels. But I don't think there's any problems with Amazon. In fact, I think it's going to be probably, and I haven't done my research to finish this list yet, but it's probably going to be one of my stocks for 2025. Listen, thanks for being here. I hope you're ready for a great market this year. I hope we get one. I think with the new administration coming in, a lot of macro trends happening that are positive, I think we're going to get some really good stuff going on. So thanks for being here, and I appreciate you. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week. By the way, if you haven't subscribed, now would be a good time to subscribe to my free newsletter called Insider Tips. You can go below here if you're on YouTube or any of the platforms. I've got a link to it, but it's free. And you get these updates all in one shot, one email every week, or you get some breaking news when we have it. Thanks for being here. See you later. Bye.